Hey everybody, welcome to Brick Vault. Today we get to visit a ship from the Star Wars universe that feels like it came from the original trilogy, but in fact did not. This is the Republic Frigate from the designer Fukusaku. As a Carillion space cruiser, it perhaps most closely resembles something like the CR-90, but with some very distinct differences. The first version of this ship, the Consular-class cruiser, is seen in the beginning of Episode 1, but by the time the Clone Wars broke out, this ship went through a retrofit and became known as the Charger C-70 Combat Refit. Aside from the Republic paint job and better internal equipment, this ship was outfitted with a lot more firepower to help combat against the looming separatist forces. A fun point of reference here for us in the studio is that this scales pretty darn well with the rest of the micro-scale creations, and if you think you might want to build this project for yourself, then you can get the instructions at brickvault.toys. With each purchase comes a PDF guide to build the model and a digital parts list for ordering your pieces online. All of our models are hand tested for strength. The instructions are troubleshot step by step, so the model is easy to build, and the parts used in the design are chosen for availability. In the case of the frigate, we also created a graphic file in case you wanted to print some stickers for extra detailing, and if you buy instructions from us, you will be able to build this model in real life. It's also an excellent way to help support us here at the channel and the talented designers that we work with, like Fukusaku, who has built a wide variety of micro scale models, some different land speeders, some wonderfully detailed construction vehicles, and even a smaller version of the Republic Frigate. So click that link in the description below if you want to get started, and we're off to the races with this mock. Let's start with the functions. As you could probably expect, all the turrets on the model can move, they swivel and tilt appropriately, plus they hold their position well without falling out of place. There's plenty of friction. There is also technically some movement with some of the sensors, though I don't know how much of these extremities move around in universe. The real interactive function of this model that took me by surprise is the foldable landing gear. The 3 feet tuck themselves away very discreetly at the bottom, and at the same time they can be opened and grabbed very easily. The model itself has some very strong grip points for flipping it over. It isn't a delicate affair to move this thing around, and the designer here also took into account a very subtle thing that I always appreciate on a model like this. The maximum extension of the landing gear when you fold them out is also just the correct position for it to be stable. That means this isn't some balancing act for the feet, and you don't have the fear of the feet folding in on themselves accidentally when you move it around. It's just a solid feature, and I really like the fact that you can do this because now you can pose this ship with ground forces for like a land-based diorama as well as flying. Now, Fukusaku really did manage to knock out some incredible shapes and proportions for this model. When looking at the ship from all the primary or wide angles, I can't help but think he must have went over this ship with a fine-tooth comb and measured each section out to a very precise degree. Sadly, some of my favorite techniques for the construction here are all hidden pretty deep within the structure of the ship, like the internals for that large cone in the front. There was a great approach to get those thin angled walls on the sides, plus the internals for the cylindrical engines just has a lot of creativity on the inside. Heck, color accents alone are very impressive. The dark red seems to pop out in all the right places, including the stripes that detail along the top. Now, the closer and closer you get to this micro scale model, more and more of the signature, intricate, and unconventional details start to pop out. Whether it's the building details for the laser cannons, the sensor arrays, escape pods at the bottom of the ship, or just some of the panel detailing along the engines in the back, you're ultimately just gonna see a connection or 2 or 3 that highlight some very unique stylistic choices. All I'm really trying to say here is that it's a wonderfully pretty model, and it's always really fun when a new build hits that sweet spot for the mutual scaling of other ships in the microverse. It's really cool to see this area of ship sizes getting bigger and bigger in terms of models that match up, and the frigate here in particular makes this whole section of ships feel a lot more complete. Remember, if you did want to build this creation for yourself, you can get the instructions at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. As always, let me know what types of models you'd like to see built in the studio for the future. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. If you enjoy our content, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share, and we'll see you next time at Brick Vault.